Right. Hey, good morning. John Wirtz here. It is December 20th, and I've got some different times here, and it's 10:30 a.m. We're here with Ronnie Tullos. Running for governor with me is Larry Rogers, Luis Pedraza, Lana Horde, Bob Bagley, and Kenneth Ernst. Good morning.
Good morning.
As we talked about, if you want to take up a 5-minute opening, you're welcome to, and then we'll do the Q&A after that. So the floor
Okay.
is yours, sir.
All right. Just a little bit about myself. I am Ronnie Tullos. I've been law enforcement for a little while now. I'm captain at the sheriff's department. I engaged with Empire Steel. I've been with them for 40 years. I'm a project manager there. I teach handgun classes. I believe in people's rights. Um, the reason why I'm running is for the people. It's to put the people back in office. The whole point of this is to establish a better state. I'm also um, business. I'm just losing it right now. I just got so much going on. Sorry. Um, in a nutshell, the only way to make a difference, we're still dealing with the same issues we've been dealing with for years since before I was born. We've been dealing with the taxes. We've been dealing with healthcare. We've been dealing with every issue. Nothing's been resolved. Nothing. So how many years do we have to go for our kids to deal with it? We need to take a stand. We need to get in office. We need to make a change. Every election season, we still have the same problems that has to be resolved and nothing's been taken care of. We have to put ourselves back in there. We have to know when to draw the line. This is a little bit that that I believe God is leading the way for me on this campaign. When I ran for state representative in Montgomery County, I did beat the incumbent out, but I didn't apply myself to anything to the matter of, of running. I wanted to see where I stood. In the public eye, I believe people credibility means a lot. You have to have a man's word. Once you lose that word, it's done. I know thousands of people, they know what I do every day, how I go, and how I live. And I've been through hell and back. I've lived in the 70s where we had no food. I remember times we didn't have nothing on the table. Nothing. We didn't even have power at the time. That's growing up in the 70s when I was a kid. I enjoyed the 80s. I started establishing my family. I raised my family. I have 5 kids. I I took care of them. They're all doing good. They got my son just bought a nice house, 5 acres. All my kids never been in trouble. And I think I did it. And my grandkids are like bar none the best in the world. I take care of people in my community. I always have. That's why I'm here. I'm the churches. I just contacted one church to help the family out, and people call me for advice or to help them out, and I'm more glad to answer the phone. I've been in politics for 15, maybe 20 years. I used to go to Greg Abbott's events, the senators, and I've always showed my face. I always listened, and I wanted to learn, and I wanted to see what the next step was, and I also seen what wasn't being done. And so when the people outcry is needing this change, needing that change, why ain't we changing it? Because you have to lead on something when you go to reestablish on election the next season, and I don't like that. If there's a problem with the taxes, let's take care of the taxes. Can it be resolved? It can be resolved. Can we eliminate it? By our norm, we can. It's already been looked at and it's already been established. I just don't come to the table empty-handed. The healthcare is an issue on the lower income. So we're looking at middle class and lower income on the healthcare. We got to establish in we're working on that because that's a little bit of issue too. Can it be resolved? It can. Everything that is brought to the table can be resolved. Not all at one time. You have to gradually work it out. You can't just come in and take away everything and not knock a walk and expect to walk away with a good result. So I got 36 seconds, and I am done, guys.
All right. So I don't know if our questionnaire asked that part of your background. Could you go back over? You said you have held office. Then
I ran for state representative.
ran for state. Did okay? So you didn't win, but
I didn't, but Janice Holt had me endorse her. Okay, she came up to me because she knew I beat Ernest out in Montgomery County. So when they redistrict, um, I didn't see me having a problem winning Montgomery County because I'm really well known in East Montgomery County, definitely, and in Montgomery. So I didn't think I would have an issue there. So when I did lose, so Janice called me up and she asked me to endorse her, and I wouldn't. I was going to actually just I was going to run again, but I told her I'd go ahead and endorse her. So when we went to a water meeting, she took a picture, put it endorsed by Bubba Tullos, East Montgomery County. Then Ernest showed up. Okay.
Ernest Bells.
Ernest Bells.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, that's who you're running against. Okay.
That's who I ran against.
Gotcha.
But if I would have won state representative, I wouldn't be running here today because I would have been established in office. And so I would that'd been forward I would have won. But you either go big or go home. You can only make a change in a certain level you're in, right? If you're school board, that's all you can do. But if you're governor of the state of Texas, you can take care of and change everything you need to change because influence means a lot.
So what sheriff department do you work for?
It's San Jacinto County.
Oh,
I've been with them 5 years.
San
January will be 5 years. I was over here in Roman Forest for 4 years. So
But you live in Montgomery County.
I live in Montgomery County.
Okay.
Yes, because I own property in I bought a lot of property years ago, and so I own property in Cape Royale, in Cold Springs. So my plan was to retire later on in years and build a house there on the lake, and then so I'm already established there, and I like it there. Wesley asked me to come to work for him before he took office. He was looking at it, and I said, I just like it over. It's country, so that's why I stuck there.
Okay. So going from kind of where you are now, you like country. This position is not country.
It ain't country, but you got to sacrifice something,
It's a
and
big
you got to
sacrifice.
sacrifice for the people. I understand the role. I understand what needs to be done, but if you call me up, John, I'm there to answer the phone. It's what I said. Everybody that's got my number, I've had that number for 21 years. I'm sorry.
How many people will you be managing in a governor's office?
Would I be managing? Everybody that works underneath me.
And how many is that? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay. Luis?
So I'm more about election integrity. I always ask the same question, actually, so I probably should.
No, you're good.
But if we don't have election integrity, we really don't have a country, state, or even county. So, given that, one of the things with election integrity laws is they either have no teeth. Okay, so even if somebody teeth, there's not enough. There's the laws out there, but okay, so you break it, what happens? Not a lot generally. And then the other issue is the SOS, the Secretary of State. They administer election law, and they they really make the rules up for how to run an election. Give it with the county runs the election, but the SOS has the rules, and you have to obey them. But SOS is real problematic about following the laws. Okay, they have been. It's been a continual issue for years. I really like your statement. All these problems are still around, and nothing seems to be happening. So, given all that, election integrity, the SOS is a huge appointment by the government. Huge. Because simply speaking, they can enforce it or not enforce it.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get your opinion on that, and if you had any thoughts about SOS and how to fix that.
Influence has a lot of power. Regardless, if I can control the narrative, that's the best way to go. accountability needs to be taking place. It's like me as a police officer. When you bring somebody that's innocent in front of the judge, and they're limited on on their money, okay, then they're going to lose, because you got to remember something. The DA's office is on unlimited funds or money, right? So who's going to be held accountable if they prosecute an innocent person? Same thing. If the SOS, when you make rules and regulations in the state, they have to be abide by the. You got to abide by them rules. We don't need new laws. We just need to enforce the laws that's in place. But they're not. So how will we fix that? I tell you what, I don't have the answer to everything, but I don't believe one man should make a direct answer without going through looking at other eyes first, because I don't want to make a mistake and hastily decide something without discussing it and saying, you know what, you're right. I didn't see it from your point of view. Now I do. So now we'll go discuss it. I'm not the one just to sit here and push the button to destroy another country without having to think it through.
So basically, you want really more information, and you want more like maybe not a panel of experts, but more people to weigh in on.
Well, I was thinking committees. Okay, this is what I decided when I started this. If we have a subject, and I came to you and I said, or you came to me and I said, look, let's look into this. So you'll be head of the committee. You can appoint. Okay, you'll be head of this committee. I want you and however many people you got underneath you. We're going to find out. Get with me in 2 weeks. I want the pros and cons. I want the plus and minuses to see what we can do to solve this issue before it gets out of hand. One thing I do believe, if that light is on in your car and it's a $20 part, fix it then, because you don't want to wait till you got to get your car inspected. Now it's a $3,000 part. That's what's going on right now in this state. We don't lead. We don't lead in hardly anything. Florida leads. You know how you lead? You put the fear of God in somebody. Whether it's going to happen or not, but you put the fear of God in somebody, they would be scared to do what they got to do. Needless to say, you heard the sheriff when he was there in Florida, when he sat there and said that we will run you over, we kill you graveyard dead. Not saying he would do it, but it put the fear of God in them, right? It puts the fear of God in whoever's going to try that. They know that this man may mean business, so it's a suicide attempt.
Yeah.
That's what we got to do. That George Floyd thing in Houston, that was crazy, and it got out of hand, and it stayed out of hand. When did it get resolved? When Trump walked in office, not when somebody else is in office or whoever's in here. Things are going too far until people start getting tired of it. If you bring me something to the table, I want to hear it so we can take care of it then. It resolves the issue before it escalates. Now they're talking about the Muslims, right? You see how it's escalating right now. Whose fault is that? Ain't my fault. Ain't nobody's fault. But it's done getting worse out of hand now. And the people are already worried and scared about it. But now it's already done grown so big that it's festering. So
you had an answer. We asked you what's your position on property taxes. I really like your answer. I want to give you a chance to elaborate on it. And the question was, what's your position? Can they realistically be eliminated, and if so, how?
they can be eliminated. You can't, it's like I said, you can't just walk in and take this bowl and say that's property taxes, we're getting rid of it. You have to have a revenue that either non-existent to make it existent to take the place of the tax. So you have to gradually work into it. Taxes is a big issue, and if you notice, we've been having the same issue, and they keep growing every year. People keep wondering why when you say you're going to take care of it, and it's not, because we got to pay the taxes. We got to deal with the taxes. They don't have to deal with it, evidently, not as much as we do. Property taxes is an issue. Do we have to pay it? No. Can we get rid of it and generate another revenue to take the place of it? We can. It has to be equal or above what's already generated. You can't just take the money away because it's already existing. You know, if you got $400 million there, you can't just take it away because it's being utilized somewhere else. So what we got to do is when we walk in there, so you gradually dissolve it until it's non-existent anymore. I ain't saying all the taxes. I'm saying, but you got to get rid of something first. Property taxes is the main one we need to get rid of. So we're going to have to work it out. We're going to have to walk through that taxes and just process of elimination. What we have to do.
We also talked a little bit about reducing the budget, so we don't need them so much in some of your answers.
Yeah.
Reduce our expenses.
Yeah, we do. And I mentioned this on one site, and somebody commented and said, "No, we done been investigated, spending $1 million." I said, "Who's investigated?" I said, "I haven't seen or heard a report that's not generated that sat here and said that gave us an investigation that came up with a resolution. Not one time. Has anybody here? I don't think anybody has to to um, to work on the budget to with overexpansion expansion of money is out of hand. We're spending money where we shouldn't have, and I don't understand why it's not being investigated. I don't know if it's just being talked about, just to shut people up. But you know, if it was already done, I would publicize everything. I'll let you know what we're doing. I'll come on TV and I said, "This is what we're doing. We're taking care of this issue on the budget of the state of Texas." It's like Doge, basically, you know. And I've said that for years. And then when they came in there and they took it over and they applied that also, I'm thinking it's what should be done here, and it's not. Our budget ain't. It's just out of control because why do we have to get bonds to subsidize the school? I mean, who pays the bond back? We do. Why are we having to pay a bond back when the school money should be there? Correct. I mean, we had the lottery that's supposed to pay for the schools. We had the toll roads that's supposed to pay for the schools. Where's all these $1 billion? You know how much toll road generated in 1 year? Huh? Profit? You know how much? Over $1 billion. Where's the money? I mean, the schools are still starving, especially the low income schools. You know? So,
Okay, we're talking about the other one, the Republican Party platform, and you didn't have any issues with anything. I'm just wondering your thoughts about um, Article 5 of the Constitution and the calling for a constitutional convention. Are you in favor of that, or do you know anything about it? Because that's part of the platform.
do I have a problem with it?
Mhm.
I ain't got a problem with anything on that has to do with the Republican Party because you're either Republican or you're not. You either believe in the same values as we do as everybody else, or you don't. And if you don't, then are you really Republican?
Well, there's a lot that,
I mean, there is changes, but in my point of view, when I look at every aspect that the Republican Party has, I really don't have an issue with any of it because it evidently it's been thought about and it's been agreed upon. I mean, the Republican Party is here for a reason. It is God sent. It is God driven. Okay, we can tell by the Democrats the way they run things that you know they you know what I decided on the Democrat. They're not dumb in some aspects because this is the way they do things. They, you know why you don't feed the bear? Because the bear becomes dependent on you. Once you pull your dependent away from it, once you pull the food away from the bear, he starves to death because he can't be dependent on nobody else. The Democrats know this. We, the people, we set rules and regulations out for a reason. It's done been thought about, voted on, and agreed upon. So if there's any changes that has to be made, they should have been changed a long time ago before it ever established. So what rules we do have need to be set in place and be followed, right? I mean, if not, I ain't.
our
I'm
rules,
I'm a rhino, and I ain't because there's no way that could ever happen.
our platform goes through a change every 2 years. So.
It does, but
I'm just wondering, do you know what a constitutional convention is and how it goes through? And if not, then it's something for you to look at.
Well,
Because as governor, it's a huge issue.
I don't know everything. I know what I'm running on, and I don't, and not saying I haven't decided, but like I just got a phone call about healthcare a while ago, women's healthcare. That's who I was on the phone with for at least an hour while I was sitting out in the parking lot. And she was just going over a lot of things. I said, "You're right." I said, "I know that there's an issue with healthcare, just same as the convention. I don't know. I don't know everything about what it is, but not saying it can't be investigated and we can't look into it. I mean, if there's a change that needs to be made, I'd like to know. And I'm pretty sure if it's a big change, and why are we changing it? You know, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were some questions that kind of touched on, rural poverty and healthcare. As governor, have you thought of any ways, or what would be your plan to raise people out of poverty and to increase their standing in Texas as far as their economic and how you how would you bring people up? What policies would you put into to help people kind of pull themselves up by their bootstraps, if you will?
Bible says there always will be poor. Okay. There's millions on top of millions of people. If everybody was rich, nobody would work, right? Nobody would be working at McDonald's. The stores wouldn't be open. So everybody can't be rich. The money would be worthless because you can't buy nothing. Nobody works. How will we pull everybody up to inspire them to do better? Is basically what we're doing in the low poverty areas. Okay. So it starts there. It starts in your home. And I believe that Jesus Christ needs to be taught in the home. Once you have Jesus in your home, and I believe that wholeheartedly, especially in my home, then everything else follows suit. Schools, the reason why we have issues in schools. And it's usually what? The low poverty schools is where we have issues. They either single parent, the kids run rampant. There's no discipline at home. So how will we take care of that? Well, and this is across the state of Texas. And we're just talking about Texas. We ain't talking about the whole United States. It's across everywhere. We ain't a third world country. And even some aspects like where we live in the Fifth Ward, it shows a representation of it because of the way they are. So how will we bring that out? Well, we can inspire the kids. A lot of times the parents, it's product of your environment, right? You're raised the way you're raised by your parents. Very few kids want out of that, but they usually run into gangs, problems like that in your low income areas. Like East Montgomery County, Splendor, or around over there in Harvest Acres. That's always going to be like that. All we can do is inspire and start with the young generation and push forward like that. We don't have the money or the funding to take care of every individual kid. They're going to have to take care and start at home. Then it has to be pushed that away. So if they don't have a home set base, we have to, if they're willing and able, we can put that there for them. We can show them. We can take them. And I don't like a kid when he can't make a decision on doing something because of the way he's raised. I mean, he could be somebody fabulous with great ideas, but he can't go no further than where he is. But if he's willing and able, we can do it. I don't believe in just because the parents' credit's bad that they should be left behind. You know, I'm that one that likes to help everybody. I want to get out. I want to hear what your problems is, and I want to know how we're going to take care of it. I'm about the people. I really am. I'm about the community because I'm out in the community every day. What makes me think that I can lead this state? To be a good leader, you have to first come from where you're from, where everybody else is. You can't just be raised up with a silver spoon in your mouth and expect to lead something you don't know nothing about. That's what I believe. Um, I am very adamant about things that I do and passionate. I want to make sure I'm about the kids. I'm about the family. And that evidently I should show from since I was young, you know, what I would do to help the poor, to rise up to better. All we can do is inspire them to do better. We can make programs to make it more affordable for them to do it. Not everybody has the luxury as some other people do. I didn't. When I was growing up, I didn't. Like I said, we grew up with nothing. I didn't have nothing. But I worked. I'm a captain at the sheriff's department. I worked my way up. I'm a project manager at Empire Steel. I mean, I was chief of staff at the Shriners last year, and I don't know how many hundreds of people underneath me. So it's something you got to have the drive. And if we could get the drive back into the kids, I think that'd be great. So,
Yep. Okay, Larry.
Okay. Your current employee, you're with the sheriff's department 5 years at San Jacinto,
mhm.
and you just said it again. You said originally that you've been Empire Steel for 40 years.
40 years.
How do you work at Empire Steel and being a sheriff?
I've been with it. So during the day, I work for Empire Steel. I'm administrative since I'm captain. So I do a lot of administration parts. So now I got officers underneath me. I got my sergeant. So I delegate. So everything goes through me, and then I get with my sergeant, and then we decide what we're going to do if there's an issue. If there's an issue, then they call me. So I work there, and I take care of the sheriff's department also. And the reason why I became a police officer is because, and I went through night school at the police department while I was still worked at Empire, because I want to do better. Because you know how many tickets I've gave since I've been a cop? 4 total, because I don't believe in giving a woman a ticket that she's working hard for, that she's raising her kids on her own, and then you just gave her a ticket. What happens when you get a ticket and you forget to show up for court because you can't take over because you got to work? What happens? Now it turns into a warrant. Not one warrant, failure to appear, and then a warrant for the ticket, right? So now you just added to it. Now she's got a warrant. How's she gonna get out of jail? And a lot of times when you get pulled over, she's going to jail. So that ain't right. I don't believe in that. So I became a police officer. So when I go up, and I want to make sure that when I show up to a scene, I want to hear everybody's issues before I start making the decision on who goes to jail and who don't, who gets the ticket and who doesn't get a ticket. And like I said, the only tickets I ever gave, 5 years at the sheriff's department, they gave 1 ticket. Roman Forest, I gave, I think, 4.
So I knew there were a lot of employees that were under the governor, not directly, but indirectly. You have
Yeah.
supervisors and all that. But it's over 300,000. The responsibilities of the governor also is to make appointments
Mm-hmm.
over certain departments.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
1,500. This includes board directors like you two. So in addition to issues that you're passionate about,
Yeah.
like you said, you still get that administrative function.
Uh-huh.
How are you going to accomplish that?
Well,
At the time of the day that you have 24/7.
because I'm used to it. You know what I run on? I run on about 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and I'm good. I seriously am. I'm up, and when I get something in my head, I want to dedicate to it. I'm up and dealing with it. I do that now with everything I do. Now, like I said, I was chief of staff at Shriners. I had a lot of people underneath me. And of course, you make the decision, but if you have not all let's say hypothetically 3,000 people coming up to you at one time, right? Liaisons that come up, everybody has somebody, chain of command. Chain of command. You're not going to have 3,000 come up to the governor and say something. You're going to have one or two people or a committee comes up and discuss what all the issues are. So everything can be done. I've been in administration for a long time, and I've been, like I said, I've been running things for. I worked hard for what I got, and so to run something, I can definitely run it. I'm also a small business owner. I've been a small business owner for a long time. I owned Texas Gunslingers and the identical to one in Porter. I own that. So the Women's Republican Party, Becky, she asked me. She said, "Have you signed both sides of the check?" I said, "I have. Signed the front and I signed the back." So for example, just going to use this example, Greg Abbott. He didn't have that many people underneath him when he was AG, right? Everybody has to start somewhere. First off, you got to have the mindset to lead and to control the office and the staff underneath you. So if I came to you, you got 20 people underneath you. You discuss your issue and then, or whatever we got, and then it goes downhill. Not one person. Now I like to address the people. I like to keep them in contact and informed on what we're doing in the state. When you're hiding something like they are, is that the end of it? When when you start leaving the people out on what you're doing, then we got a problem. That means you're hiding something, right? That's my thoughts. I want to know what the governor's doing. What are you doing? Why ain't we resolved this? Why it's already been 12 years and we're still dealing with this? Why? No answer. Okay, why not? Nobody wants to know. I'll tell you what's going on. You call me, I'll let you know. What we got going on, Bubba? This is what we got. Okay. I've been in I've been in the role of let's say the leadership for a long time. Not saying that it's any better than anything else. I mean, you had Hitler as a leader, right? So that didn't work out well, but he wasn't for the people. He was only for a race. So me, that's just me. Do I believe I can do it? If I didn't, I wouldn't be here. Do I think God put me here? I really do. If I told you stories on how I got here and what was going on and the way it worked out, you would think God was leading this way. Our minister in my campaign, he has every Monday we have a reflection. You know, he calls and does a group thing every Monday. So it's something I believe in, passionate. You gotta have God to lead. If you start taking them out, what happens? I mean, they brought back the 10 Commandments. What do I think about the 10 Commandments in school? I think it's biblical. It's in there, but it shouldn't have to be biblical anyway, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. Thou shalt not kill. I mean, it's all day, every day. So it should have been taught at home, but it's not. Is it in there? That's something people look at. Thou shalt not kill. Okay. They just had that over at Sterling High School. You see that? I mean, it's a shame. It was over, I think they said a bait.
We got time for one more question. So, just trying to figure out from a policy perspective, kind of where government, what's the role of government? And my question is, recently in this, we got an amendment to the Texas Constitution that got approved, and it was for an Alzheimer's fund. And the state is going to start funding an Alzheimer's fund. So, is that something that you think government should be involved in, or it's a good idea? It's really private sector stuff. So just wanted to get your thoughts on where you kind of
It passed?
It did pass.
Alzheimer's fund. And can you explain what all that's about?
Well, so it was, I don't remember the exact dollar.
I don't
amount.
remember.
It's for research on all.
Research on Alzheimer's to maybe find a cure, but if the state is paying, it's a.
So we're funding the taxpayers' money to
Correct,
fund this
for the Alzheimer's.
for the
research.
Alzheimer's.
500 million.
Is it 500 million? That sounds about right. So the question is that a state function or where do you fall with that?
Where do I fall with that? Medical research has been going on for a long time, right? And it ain't been really funded, but well, the government funds a lot of it on for even for that. So has it? Let me ask you something. They still have Alzheimer's, right? And it's been going on for how long? How long? How many years have they been trying to find a cure for this?
Since they discovered it.
Since they discovered it. What, back in the 50s? Whenever it was, they still have it. So $500 million, is that going to make a difference? Or I did think about this through years. I did think about this. They got research facilities all over the place, right? All over Texas. Who funds them? Besides the what they get on uh, from the government and have private entities and what have you, right? That's $500 million, guys. Now, can we maybe help a little bit with all medical? I think the medical issues, because I don't like seeing a little kid hurt. I don't like seeing older people with Alzheimer's, to see where it comes. Now, you can research it all day long. They got different reasoning why that happened, why the disease is happening. You know, maybe it's something you ate. Maybe it's degenerative. Sorry about that. It's just growing older. Um, Man, that's a good question. I mean, $500 million to research on something that's already still being researched on. So if they're already researching it all over the whole United States, even here in Texas, are we funding or what are we doing with the $500 million? I mean, because the research is still going. It's not like they just stopped and threw it off in the bag and say, we ain't doing it, we ain't got the money. The money's still there. So the $500 million, what's it's expanding? I mean, we can go to Baylor College and get a bunch of graduates, put them together, tell them to think outside the box instead of what you just read. Just think outside the box and see if you come up with something. That usually works. $500 million is a lot of money to fund something that's already been funded, and it ain't. What's it carrying? Is it carrying more payroll? I mean, that's what I want to know. Is what's the $500 million going to? The research, but it's already being researched. It ain't like they didn't stop researching. I mean, if they had plausible cause for using $500 million, I want to hear it. Because if we're already being funded on all that, are you wanting to raise increases? Is that what it is? So what's the money for them for? First off, we need to know where it's going, because it ain't like they shut down everything. Now, do they need more money to keep continuing research? Okay, how much you need, but they get funded anyway. But if you need funding, yeah, it's up. We see if we can help you fund it.
Bobby, you have a follow on that?
I do. No,
I don't know if that helped out any.
number one, personally. Number one point is this became a constitutional amendment for us to be doing this. This is now in this Texas state
Yeah.
constitution that we're going to do this. That's number one, where it should never be. Number two, it's not government's responsibility. Was not currently in our constitution that this is something that we did with taxpayers' dollars. Now it is. Where does this stop? There were a number of things that came across during this last election with new constitutional amendments that could have been covered by laws by our state legislature instead of being put into our constitution. And that's a big job that the governor has say so in.
So you see what I'm saying though. It's just, yeah, you instead of adding all of this, the research is already there for all this. It ain't like they're stopping. If you needed more funding, what do you need the funding for? What are we giving $500 million to? Something that's already ongoing. Did you make progress in the past 52 years? Have you made progress? What's the progress on this? If we're just spinning our wheels, we need to get somebody more competent in there to do more research.
Regardless of research or anything
Yeah.
else, it's not the job of government.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
And
what I'm saying.
that's the stuff that has
Yeah.
to stop. So my question was, and you brought up George Floyd earlier.
George Floyd.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
What was your opinion about Governor Abbott? The headlines in the Houston Chronicle: Governor takes a knee at the Golden Casket.
No.
There were no funerals taking place throughout the United States. Everything was cremation, and our governor shows up for a thug
Yeah.
for his funeral, and stays with the family.
Yeah.
What is your thought on that?
My thought on that, my thought on that, it shouldn't even went where it was. I don't believe in that. First off, I'm not going to play that game with these people. We ain't going to sit here just because he was a thug. The police wouldn't have been called if he wasn't committing a crime, correct? When I sat there, and there's a video that was out and then it was taken down. Nobody else seen it, evidently. When they prosecuting that police officer for what he didn't cause that problem. It was just thrown out there. Me, I'd shut it off before it even started. We're not going to allow this to happen. They made a shrine of him in Houston, and that was allowed for a criminal that's been in and out of prison most of his life. And he was on drugs, been proven through the coroner's office that he was on, when they did the autopsy, that he was on drugs. Okay, when that one video that was taken down, and I know y'all didn't see it evidently, when they said his knee was on his neck, it wasn't. It wasn't on the sideline, and I seen the video, and it was taken down. So what would I do as governor? I'll shut it down right then. I said I don't want it. I would tell them straight up. I'm like that. We ain't playing these games. I don't want to hear it no more. Don't even start. It wasn't a racist thing, evidently. It was just a cop thing. You know how they do that? They're back and forth. People are not. It's the media that is the problem, and I have a problem with the media. They pick and choose on what they want to do. You know, so I do have a problem with that. I don't let that go. That would have never happened if I was governor. I guarantee you that. Because
All right, we're at the point now. We can take up to 5 minutes on your closing, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right. Well, I'm Ronnie Tullos. I'm running for governor of the state of Texas. I'll be proud to serve you every day, all the time. If there's an issue, I want to hear it. I'm not here just for myself. I ain't here at all for myself. I'm here for the people. I wouldn't even be running. I could be living over there on my property on the lake and working at the sheriff's department, not doing nothing. But that ain't what I'm here for. I was called to do this. God puts you in the middle of an intersection. You got the choice. He puts you where he wants you to be. It's your choice on which direction you want to go. You can go left, right, or you can go backwards. And I swear to God, I went forward because there's nobody else running that's for the people that we looked at. Me and my campaigns looked at it. There's nobody that's running that I can see that's been through, has most of the people that's walked down the same path as you have, and to understand what they're looking for. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
So, no, you good. So, do I believe I'm here for a reason? I do. Everything happens not by chance. It's happening by God's will. I guarantee you. I'm the only one that I know that's running that I believe that can sit here and talk to you and said, hey, you can call half the people you know and they know who I am. I was raised up, like I said, to believe that a man's word means a lot. Once you ruin that, one bad thing will ruin your whole name, right? Everybody, you can do 100 goods and screw up one time, and everybody remember that one bad thing. Everybody's here for a purpose. Every bad road led me to here. Would I change everything in my past, even bad or good? No, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't be here at this table right now. I worked hard for what I got. I tried to excel in everything I do. I tried to lead in everything I do. My businesses, the ones I had, was good, successful. I excelled in the sheriff's department, my company. I'm a big fan of the Second Amendment right, self-protection. I teach handgun classes. I just had a class not too long ago, and I believe in that. That shouldn't be infringed upon by no means. I love the people here. Texas is my home, and you're my family, and I take care of family. I guarantee you. My kids love me. My grandkids definitely love me. I buy them whatever they want.
Well, it should be.
Yeah. My little granddaughter, she's something else. I got a grandson that he's a year old. He lives in California. But I just sent him a whole bunch of stuff during Amazon. Of course he's a year. He don't know. And like Christmas, people don't realize what Christmas is anymore. Kids don't. They think it's Santa Claus. You know what I told my granddaughter? I said, "What is Christmas, baby?" She's 3. And she says, Santa Claus bring it. I said, no. I said, it's Jesus Christ. I said, it represents the day Christ was born. I said, Santa Claus is just something I don't know why we fabricate. We've been lying to kids for all our life. Santa Claus is going to bring you a toy. Well, whatever. I remember when I found Santa Claus back in 1973, I think it was. Found it on the back porch. But I told her, I said, and I just told her this the other day. I said, it's about Jesus Christ, baby, and what he represents and all this. And so I went over to her. And so it's just something else when they look up at you and smile, because that's one. So we got to look out for the future of our kids. So we got to start somewhere. And nothing's ever changed through the years before I was born, before you were born. It's always been an issue, and it's all escalated. So we got to put the people back in office. We got to put people that's been there, that's done that. Well, you can make a phone call and say, hey, Governor, I said, what you got? What you need? Not all representatives, state representatives, are going to represent the people. I learned that a long time ago. It's usually more or less for themselves. I'm not a store-bought politician. I can't be bought. I don't need to be bought. I got money. I work for whatever I got. So, anyway, guys, I got 29 seconds. Huh?
Website?
I do have a website. It's Ronnie Tullos for governor or Ronnie Tullos for Texas. Okay. It's one of the two. I don't remember which one it is. I know my campaign team's got several. So that is one of them. .com.
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 Okay,
Sorry.
great. Thank you very much for coming in. Good luck in your campaign.
Okay, I'm gonna get off.